Live on 5 News and streaming on 5 Plus, this is a Weather Impact Alert.
All right, and good morning, everyone. I'm weather forecaster Joshua Weisel, and we are taking a look at storms that are moving into portions of the River Valley. And you can see this activity is starting to make its way into portions of Sequoyah County and LaFleur County. So right now, storms are just to the west of the River Valley areas near Fort Smith. So if you're watching from Fort Smith, warning doesn't technically include you for the time being, but further to the west, there's a complex of storms that has been capable of producing some significant winds of 70 miles an hour. In fact, there is still the potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds with that area of storm. So we're going to be tracking that throughout the morning here, and we'll let you know the very latest. So a quick note, too, if you are watching us on Facebook and YouTube, we are not able to see your comments or anything like that. So if you have any sort of reports or anything letting us know what you can see, text us here at 479-785-5000. Your reports, as long as it's safe to do so. Don't put yourself in danger to get those reports in. But if you are experiencing hail, anything like that, you can let us know here. Just let us know the town so that we can pass that information along across the area. So that's how you can send us your reports. But unfortunately, not able to see the text or the, not able to see the comments coming in on Facebook and on YouTube. So that's a look at what we've got going on there. This is the complex of storms that has been causing all sorts of issues back since the Tulsa area, and this has had a history of producing 70-mile-per-hour winds. So that's why we're on with you this morning. Is fortunately not necessarily talking any sort of tornado potential or anything with this for the time being. Again, we have a low potential for tornadoes today. It's not the highest risk. The main risk that we got going on right now is the widespread 70-mile-per-hour winds that we have with this complex of storms. So I want to go over to the velocity here real quick, and we'll show you kind of what's going on here. And there's a look at those winds there, some pockets near Gore. And this is just barely in our county coverage area. This is just basically skirting the line of Sequoyah County and in areas outside of our coverage area. But we're starting to see some of these brighter areas where it's almost turning to yellow. That is indicative of very, very strong winds. In fact, if I start to highlight kind of what we're talking about here with the velocity Q, we'll do a couple samples of some of those wind estimates here. And I'll go ahead and see if I can clear that off. And it looks like it doesn't want to load for me. We'll go ahead and just try that here again. Some 55. It looks like it's just taking a sweet time this morning. 55, 58, some values, maybe a little bit stronger, not popping up there. But needless to say, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds will still be possible just because once you start getting into those yellows, that is indicative of well above 60 miles an hour to say the least. So that's a look at what we've got there with those winds. Let's go ahead and do a quick track of this. And the thing with this is, even like the storms that we had the last system, these storms are just moving at a tremendous pace. These aren't your average 35, 45 mile per hour moving storms. This is moving at highway speeds. This is 65 miles an hour to the south and east. So eventually we'll be watching it. There's no warning for Fort Smith right now, but eventually down the line, this batch of storms starts to continue to move off to the east-southeast. Maybe it will come close to communities such as Fort Smith. Poto heads up there as well. We've got this area of storms starting to move in. I want to do a quick update here because this one is in our county coverage area. It's also kind of not fully yet. Just before we get more activity in the area, just give you a broad view. Widespread rain and thunderstorms in portions of northwest Arkansas right now. You can see some lightning, widespread rain. It's right around maybe light to moderate in terms of activity. The loud thunderstorms we woke up to this morning are pushed off well to our east. That is no longer an issue. The only activity that we have right now, that's going to be this warned storm. This is a big warning across portions of eastern Oklahoma. It does include portions of our counties and portions of just clipping Adair County, large, if not almost all of Sequoyah County, portions of LaFleur County for the time being. So that's a look at what we've got there. The other thing I want to highlight too is this is just a tremendous amount of rainfall with this activity as well. So we'll go ahead and pause this here real quick. And I do want to highlight kind of the rainfall rate that we've seen here And I guess I'll just do this. It looks like none of these are wanting the queue this morning, so I apologize here. Looks like this computer's already on holiday. So when we start getting into those brighter colors, I'll show you those pinks, those purples, starting to get into the grays. That's indicative of very, very heavy rainfall over the last hour. And I would assume that we're starting to get to probably about the 2+ inch category per hour in terms of the rainfall rates. So that is just a lot of rainfall that we've got going on here. These storms, while it is moving at 65 miles an hour for the time being, the thing to mention with this is it has been kind of all over the place with the storm speeds. At times it'll slow down dramatically and then it will kick back up the speed. So it's been going fast, it's been going slow, it's kind of been going back and forth. And with that and the large area of rainfall with it, there's going to be heavy rainfall and localized flooding potential with that as well. Now that we've got that kind of out of the way, let's go ahead and go back to the main story, which is of course going to be those winds. And I tell you, people may not think, 70-mile-per-hour winds, what's the difference between 60? I think a lot of people, they'll have a severe thunderstorm move through. It'll be the typical 60-mile-per-hour wind threat, and they'll think, yeah, that wasn't too bad. What is 70? It's only a couple, a little bit different. And the truth of the answer is, it's not that great. We're talking about the threshold between 60-mile-per-hour winds and 70. The damage that you get is considerably higher. It can lead to more tree damage. It can lead to roof damage. It can even topple over, mobile homes or portable homes. Anything like that, once you start to climb into that 10-mile-per-hour range higher than 60, anything 70 or above, that is pretty considerable, if not destructive. Destructive, technically, is 80-mile-per-hour winds. Fortunately, we're not dealing with that. But, the threshold for damage increases pretty dramatically once you jump from 60 into 70. So, some power outages may be possible with these winds. This is going to be a very loud, maybe even a scary sounding storm. So if you're in these areas, we're here with you. We're going to help you ride this out. So, of course, we have these winds. It is in portions of western Sequoia County, just clipping portions of Adair County for this time being. Let's go ahead and zoom in on some areas that are affected. And you can see if your community is in this warning, go ahead and stay away from north and west facing windows. With 70-mile-per-hour winds, if there's any sort of loose objects out there, 70-mile-per-hour winds can easily pick those up and toss those at your home or your window. It can easily lead to some damage in terms of the trees, anything like that. So you're going to want to be keeping a very close eye on this, but just to be safe, I would stay away from north and west facing windows just because this is moving from the northwest to the south and east. You just want to stay away from those windows that are a little bit more vulnerable to where any sort of loose objects could slam into those. So not a guarantee you see damage, but just to be on the safe side, stay away from those windows there. Some of these brighter pockets you see here may be indicative of those winds. They may be maintaining still around 60, some 50s mixed in. Just gonna kind of cherry pick here some spots that we've got there. Just seeing what we've got. I want to zoom in on where that brighter patch is kind of located near Marble City. And we'll just go ahead and there we go. So close to 60, that does not surprise me. There we go. We're right at the severe threshold there. The other thing, too, is if you're new to watching these updates or new to the area in general, I know that there's a lot of transplants from other states coming here to Northwest Arkansas and stuff like that. You may not be used to severe weather. So just to let you know, if you're not familiar with it, in order for a storm to be considered severe, you need winds of 58 miles an hour or greater, and or hail 1 inch diameter or larger. That's quarter size. Right now we're exceeding that by 10 miles an hour. Some of those samples are showing us that they are likely still translating to the ground at severe levels just because we're starting to see that 58 threshold, even some higher down there. So again, this is just an active morning. I would definitely just be on alert in portions of maybe Crawford and Sebastian counties if these pockets of strong winds continue to move to the south and east. Maybe down the line, we may see an additional warning depending on how this evolves. So it's just one of those things where there's no warning here yet, but just to be on the safe side, if you have a loose outdoor object that you wouldn't want damaged or tossed in the wind, probably now is a good time before this moves in that you could just move that indoors just to get it out of the potential wind here down the line. So not a guarantee it makes it here, but I would just start, keeping a closer eye on the radar here over the next little bit. We're sticking to velocity mode, and that's what this means. When you see these greens, these blues, these reds, and these pinks, this is the radar interpreting where the precipitation or things in the atmosphere are moving. It's sending out a signal, and it's hitting those rain droplets, and it's showing us, which direction stuff is going and at what speed. Red is away from the radar and green is moving towards the radar, and you can see moving towards the radar right here in Fort Smith, we have this big area of wind. Currently 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts are possible. And it looks like we're getting an update for that, so I'm curious to see what that update would be. Let's see what we've got here. Still 70 mile per hour winds, so they're continuing that warning for the potential for 70 mile per hour winds. And the other thing too is this is such a large severe thunderstorm warning that this is not entirely just for this portion of the storms there. So we've got a couple different areas outside of our area that they are watching, and I'm going to stop this from animating here and just show you this is just a big complex of storms moving back into portions of eastern Oklahoma, and this entire area is going to be capable of those 70 mile per hour winds. So big severe thunderstorm warning. We are clipped in a portion of it. We're watching this segment here in portions of Sequoyah County. And I tell you what, over the last couple of scans, I've noticed there's a little bit more lightning. I'm curious just how much lightning we have had here with that. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick little view. Over the last 10 minutes, it looks like we've had almost 260 strikes. So a fair amount of lightning there with that. That is looking a little bit more of an uptick from what we saw earlier, probably the last 10 minutes or so. So may need to watch that, keeping a very close eye on those winds. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hail core tracker. Really nothing to talk about here. Fortunately, we're not talking that large damaging hail or anything like that. Just a little tiny speck that you see right here and here. Not very big, so we're not dealing with any sort of intense hail there. That's the good news. The only problem is we're in that 70 mile per hour wind threshold, and that's no good. And if you're just now seeing this too, this is something else that we're going to be talking about. That's not a tornado warning or anything like that. I know it's a maroon shaded box, but that is actually flash flooding going on there near the Tulsa Metroplex. So that's where there's a flash flood warning there. That's the other thing we're going to be talking about. I already mentioned those rain rates, but over the next couple of days, some of us could pick up anywhere between 4 to 7 inches of rainfall, especially in the northern portions of our county coverage area in northwest Arkansas and maybe even portions of the River Valley. So today, we've got this round that we're watching. Of course, we have this severe thunderstorm here, but the problem is going to be we have a couple more days to go with the rain. So severe weather. It is the biggest, highlight of anyone's day. People are always curious about what it means for hail, tornado, or wind potential. But don't overlook the flooding potential that we've got in place too, just because that could be a little bit of a problem here in the next couple of days. I'm going to go ahead and just move this out of the way here real quick and go look at some things behind the scenes here. And don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. So we're going to just ride you, we're just going to get you through this and let you know what to expect and what issues will come with this storm. I want to look at some of our more high resolution data behind the scenes and just kind of make sure that we're doing our due diligence here and just letting you know the very latest. So we've got this activity moving through, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to regular radar here real quick and just maybe do this here real quick, and we'll show you. That warning goes in effect. Let's see if it'll pop up here. That is in effect until 8:15 this morning. So Fort Smith also heads up. You do have a little bit of a thunderstorm over you, so heavy rainfall will be possible there. No warning for Fort Smith technically right now, but that is just a heads up just because, anyone who's been Anyone who's lived in the Fort Smith area, of course, they are familiar with the fact that, there are some flood-prone areas, heavy rainfall with that, and then the additional heavy rainfall down the way, that may lead to some problems there. Weather Service saying that they're watching the eastern portion of that line that we are watching too. They're saying that we may see some additional warnings here for the wind potential. So we're not out of the woods yet. And that's why we're live with you here. Even though, many may think, it's not really clipping, a lot of areas yet. It is still something that we want to cover just because we want to give you the earliest heads up on this just so you're not caught off guard by these storms. Even though this is really affecting just one county for this time, we're live with you now because eventually down the way, this is going to be a problem for some other counties in our coverage area. And we just want to make sure that everyone is aware of this activity. 70-mile-per-hour winds are the main concern. Of course, there may be some small hail mixed in here and there, but the main activity is going to be that 70-mile-per-hour wind risk. So, portions of the River Valley, Crawford and Sebastian County, I would start moving any sort of loose outdoor objects that you may not want to be damaged. Either onto the patio, into the garage, into the house. Just do it real quick, just because doesn't say that we're going to get a new warning here that is, being written up or anything for the time being. But they are considering additional warnings for the potential for the wind that is going to be moving in here over the next little bit. And you can see it's just this. Go back to this one. You can just see, and I'm going to use this real quick. This activity right here, this ball of wind is the main concern, especially where you see some of these brighter pockets like here to the south and east of Flute Springs. Some of these brighter pockets, that's indicative of the more concerning severe winds, potentially up to 70 miles an hour. And sorry, that actually scared me. I was not expecting that. I got some thunder up here in northwest Arkansas, so if you heard my voice kind of shake there real quick, kind of caught me off guard, and looks like our couple 100-foot lightning rod is working pretty good out there so far this morning. So quick overview here real quick, and let's show you what we've got going on here this morning. We do have some thunderstorms in northwest Arkansas, so just a quick heads up to our friends and family in northwest Arkansas, northeast Oklahoma. Widespread rain. It's light to moderate, and there is a lot of lightning with it. And it's not frequent, but you are going to hear the occasional rumble off in the distance. And the pesky thing about northwest Arkansas that I've learned over the last couple of years is, for anyone who's trying to sleep in this morning, it's not that peaceful thunderstorm that you can sleep to. There's a couple of nice rumbles with some light rain. It may sound all nice, and then you'll get the bolt of lightning that literally jolts you out of bed, and it's the most terrifying sound you've ever heard. That's kind of what's going on here in northwest Arkansas. Is we've got that lightning that is moving through the area, kind of sporadic at times. Very frequent lightning in the River Valley with this severe thunderstorm that is the main focus of the morning. So northwest Arkansas, no warnings or anything like that. Good morning to you. I know it's loud out there this morning. I thought that was a new update. But yeah, not the best morning to head out for a jog or anything like that. Walk the dog, probably wait until this activity passes. But the River Valley is the main show this morning just because we have this thunderstorm that is warned for 70-mile-per-hour winds. And it looks like eventually we may get a additional warning here depending on the progression of this and how it continues to evolve. Let's see. Looking at some of these sources, and behind the scenes is kind of cool. So we have this radar that we're showing you here, but we also have a couple of more high resolution, a little bit nerdier tools back here, meaning that it's a little bit harder to show on broadcast just because it's diving into some more advanced scientific tools that are a little bit harder to read. But looking at that, still seeing the 70-mile-per-hour wind potential with activity moving into, portions of Sequoyah County here. Looking to see no updates yet. Looking to see if they are okay. And didn't see any written updates, but it looks like they went ahead and just decided that they wanted to go ahead and issue the warning for portions of Franklin, Sebastian, Crawford, and Sequoia and LaFleur counties. And this is in effect until, drum roll please, 8:30. And they are continuing the 70 for the previous warning box, but right now we are just at a general 60-mile-per-hour wind threat with this latest. And sorry if I'm quiet back here, reading just a couple of updates that we've got here. And looks like, okay, so that is, yes, they are sticking with 60-mile-per-hour winds with that, which is a good thing. Now, we're not going to give you the all clear yet, but if you are watching, that is some good news that we're starting to see. And you may even notice with time, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out real quick and just kind of show you the last couple hours with this complex of storms. Is look at how impressive looking it was around 6:16. And then right now, it's not looking as well defined or put together. So hopefully this is going to start to continue to weaken. But I do think there are still some pockets of wind. Let's see here. I do think that there are some pockets of wind. Trying to sample. Looks like maybe still indicating about 50 to 60 miles an hour just above the surface. And this is this little area that we have right here. There's some thunder. I'm sure you hear it there through the microphone. But this is just some of the areas that we're talking about here near Brushy. And then right here near I-40, just some of these brighter pockets of wind, maybe exceeding 60, maybe up to 65 at times. But overall, hoping that this is a positive trend where we're going to start to see this continue to weaken below severe limits, because that would be just fantastic just to be dealing with normal thunderstorms. So let's go back to this. And I want to go ahead and do just a general timing on this. And I want to see if they're saying this is moving more to the east or kind of what their general thoughts are. East, southeast. Okay, so they have this moving east at 40. So this slowed down once again. And if you were tuning in earlier, mentioned that this is moving kind of sporadically, where at times it'll be moving at 60, it'll be moving at 65, and then it'll slow down to 35. So right now we're at the 45-mile-per-hour range here with this. I'm going to go ahead and just put a track on the more intense part of this line, and we'll have this moving to the east. Nope. Oops. That one just decided it wanted to take both tracks off. I'm going to go ahead and do that again. And we'll put this right around 45 miles an hour and show you kind of what to expect with the times of arrival here if you are in the River Valley. So here's a look at what we've got. And Spiro around 750, Fort Smith 757. Fort Smith Regional around 803, Alma around 807, Dyer around 814, Lavaca at 818, and then eventually, if it makes it to Charleston, still at severe limits, right around 831. Let's go ahead and do this here real quick too. Continues the warning for Sequoia and LaFleur. Okay, we'll get to that here in just a second. Here's a look at the 3-hour rain estimate. And you can just see there is there's a couple of these areas. Carroll County, 2.2 inches. Portions of Sequoia County, about 8/10 of an inch. Some other areas right around 2/10 of an inch. So some heavy rainfall, but this is not the main rain making its way into the area yet. So just keep that in mind. We got a couple more days of rain to go. This is not going to be the highest that rain gets. Let's go back to this. And for LaFleur County, they're going ahead and they are continuing that warning for still 70-mile-per-hour winds. And it looks like maybe nickel-sized hail too. So that's what we've got going on there. Again, we have these two severe thunderstorm warnings. One is mainly going to clip LaFleur County, eventually may make its way into Scott County and portions of Logan County if it holds together. The same one is still going to be making its way closer to Sebastian and Crawford counties. That's where the warning is now in effect there. Eventually, maybe further into Franklin County, and then eventually down into Logan and maybe even portions of Johnson County too. So if you are in, let me get this real quick. So this is going to be the area where we're watching for this severe line to continue over the next couple of hours as it makes its way further to the east-southeast. So we're going to be watching this area here for that development to continue. So if you are in those areas, you are not out of the woods yet. Still watching, some thunderstorms in northwest Arkansas, but thankfully nothing severe so far. But we just want to let you know the very latest on this just because, hey, we got friends and family in the River Valley. Let them know, hey, there's some gusty winds coming in. Maybe not head out this morning just because we got the potential for some gusty winds and some lightning as well as heavy rainfall. Now, the other thing, too, is notice we don't have any sort of tight green and red velocity indicators coming together, which is indicative of rotation. So I just want to ease any sort of fear for the potential for tornadoes. We do have a low risk today. Just to be honest with you, we do have that risk in place. But letting you know, we don't have any sort of areas of significant rotation or really rotation at all that we need to be worried about. Just a couple of weak pockets of some, I think those are probably bad readings of the radar, or maybe just some gusty wind potential pockets right there. But fortunately, not looking at any sort of tornadic activity for the time being. Keep that in mind. We're watching this activity very closely. We'll let you know if there's anything that says otherwise. But just to kind of relieve any sort of fear, just to let you know, we're not dealing with tornadoes right now. This is just 60 to 70 mile per hour winds and some small hail as well as some lightning. Just to let you, kind of reduce your fears. I know these are going to sound scary. So if you're watching and you're worried, you hear all the lightning, you hear the wind, you hear the heavy rainfall. I know these things can be loud and they can be scary, but for the time being, we're just dealing with wind. And that is, it's not pleasant, but, damaging winds of 60 miles an hour are more manageable than 70 or higher or even a tornado. So just hopefully this continues to be the case where we're just dealing with some winds and they're on the downward trend, but we'll let you know if anything changes there. Excuse me. So we got this activity, and just a little update too. Because, we've got people on here watching from Facebook. We got people on 5+. We got people on YouTube. If you're watching on any of these platforms, we really appreciate you hopping on here, watching us live. Just to let you know, if you have any sort of comments or any sort of questions, I'm unable to see those right now. If I had the ability to answer your questions, I would love to. But with how the system is set up, I am not able to see live comments coming in on Facebook or YouTube at this time, just because it's numerous different platforms. So if you have any sort of reports coming in, text us your reports and your pictures and video 479-785-5000. That's what we've got going on for the report system. Let us know the town that it's in. Let us know, are you seeing hail and what size? But only do so if it is safe to do it. Don't go out there in the middle of the storm to try and get a photo or a video for us. That's not what we're looking for. We want to make sure that you're safe. But if you have any sort of information to pass along when it's safe to do so, just text us there and let us know what you're experiencing. Send us your photos or your videos as well. So this is what we've got going on here. Again, the time now is 7:50 in the morning. We're watching storms moving into portions of the river valley. Hopefully these are on a weakening trend. Notice not seeing any sort of significant blues or brighter colors that we were seeing earlier. Some of those brighter pockets have started to go away. Still some brighter greens, but I would rather brighter greens than the brighter blues that would be more on the significant side of the wind scale. So some brighter greens there. Let's go ahead and sample kind of what we're talking about there. And yeah, that's come down pretty dramatically. No longer showing the 50s there. I still think winds are probably about 45 to 60, depending on where. Not consistently 60 miles an hour, but still pretty strong enough to create maybe some issues and be a little bit of a nuisance. But that's what we've got going on there. Also, a quick update here. So we do have this severe thunderstorm watch. This is in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. Does include a large portion of the area along I-49. Counties that are not included does not mean that you are completely clear from severe weather. Just be mindful of the forecast throughout the day and the radar the next several hours. The risk that we have today is a widespread 2 out of 5. Pretty much covers all of our counties in the area, but it looks like with the latest update that we got here as of 7 o'clock, the update no longer is every single county in yellow. It looks like there is a very small sliver of that 1 out of 5 potential there, but still watching potential for some flash flooding, some damaging winds, maybe even some large hail in a low but not zero tornado risk. So let's go back to this real quick. And you can see we're watching these storms here. It looks like just a lot of flooding further to the west. Additional flash flood warning there, trying to appear north of McAllister. So this is the activity that we've got right now. We're watching this wind potential, and I'll move this just to show you the right wind here with the warning moving into the river valley. 70-mile-per-hour winds is for the portion near Sallisaw in LaFleur and Sequoia County. 60-mile-per-hour winds are possible with the one that's moving into the Fort Smith area here momentarily. Alma as well. So if you're in these areas, just be mindful. Some gusty winds will be possible. I know it's loud. I know it's scary. They're not pleasant to be dealing with. Okay, that's outside of our area report-wise. I know they're loud. I know they're scary. But, the good news is this is just wind. It is just 60-mile-per-hour winds. And hopefully we don't see anything stronger than that. If you do, feel free to let us know. But right now, for the time being, not seeing any of those pockets of significant wind going on. And that is the good news for the time being. Hopefully it remains the case. And let's go ahead and just zoom in here real quick. I do think Fort Smith is about to get hit by around 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's that pocket that you see there. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of point out to what I'm talking about. It's this line right here. And I do think that we're going to continue to see some of those winds still on the stronger side, probably 50 to 60. New update, you see that flashing box here. That is the Weather Service updating the information, and they are still keeping that at 60 miles an hour. So that's a look at what we've got going on. See if we got any sort of new updates or anything. All right, so this is what we've got going on here. Strong storms moving into the river valley. Fortunately, we're not dealing with anything significant. I know that this is a problem. It is severe, but we're not talking necessarily 70-mile-per-hour winds or anything like that for this moment in time. We're just dealing with 60-mile-per-hour winds, and I would much rather that than tornado potential or any winds that are stronger than that. So fortunately, this is what we are dealing with at this moment in time. So, if you're in Fort Smith, just get ready. 60-mile-per-hour winds are incoming. We will be watching this here. Alma as well, keeping an eye on that. Van Buren, some gust 2 winds starting to move into there as well. So don't be surprised if some 60-mile-per-hour winds will be possible. Let's take a look. Maybe some small hail too. I think this is mostly nickel-sized hail. But for the time being, we're not talking any sort of significant activity in terms of severe weather, which is very, very good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rotation tracker, and really not a whole lot going on. So that's some good news that we're talking about in terms of any sort of potential rotation. Just to make you feel better, doesn't look like there's any sort of significant areas, or any areas actually, to be dealing with at all. So that's a look at what we've got going on there. So here's what we've got going on with an area-wide view. Of course, we have widespread rain and thunderstorms moving through. We're tracking these very carefully. Let's see what that looks like. They're updating the warning for to the west. And it looks like we are on a downward trend with all of these, which is some good news there. It looks like they went ahead and did 60-mile-per-hour winds with everything. So we're watching this activity. We are going to let you know what to expect with this. Again, River Valley, just get ready for the potential for those damaging winds here of 60 miles an hour. There is definitely a lot of lightning with it as well. Let's go ahead and just check out what's going on here. Let's see if I can do the... There is some thunder outside. This is our ACHE camera in Fort Smith. You can see some heavy rainfall there. I want to see, where is the... Okay, here's our other camera. Or, nope, still not it. There we go. I figured this would have a really good view. And you can kind of see, it looks like maybe a roll cloud with the leading edge there. I kind of wanted to see what this had to show, as this is basically where this activity is starting to roll into here. See what that's got there. You can see some heavy rainfall. Winds are not significant yet, but this is just getting closer to that activity. Going to go ahead and just put that there. We'll go back to that here in just a minute. Let's go back to the winds here and just kind of show you what we are dealing with. I'm going to stop the animation. And again, the good news is at this point, 70-mile-per-hour winds are the main concern with all this activity. Let's go to that hail core tracker, just to let you know. A little bit of an uptick, not significant. Just to show you kind of what we're talking about here. It's this area in the lighter gray, penny-sized. So nothing severe. But just letting you know, penny to nickel-sized hail will be possible. But the main concern continues to be the potential for some damaging winds, and still seeing those brighter greens kind of in the Fort Smith area. Let's go back to our Mercy Fort Smith camera. And I think we're going to start seeing that view here in just a minute. If the winds are truly severe, we'll see those kick up here in just a minute. We're watching this camera. This is on Mercy Hospital on Rogers Avenue and in the River Valley. You can see just a kind of a dark, ominous sky, but those winds, they're not really kicking up right now. But eventually, once this starts to move in, that will change. Let's see here. Checking out a more HD source behind the scenes here, just kind of seeing what's going on behind the scenes as we watch this camera start to roll through. So the good news is we're talking about really only one large severe thunderstorm warning in our county coverage area. And we're watching storms move into the Fort Smith area here in just a little bit. and you can just see kind of that dark, ominous sky moving in. We'll be watching to see if that has any sort of wind potential moving in with that into camera view, just to see kind of how bad those winds would be. Let's go back to radar real quick in the meantime. And let's see here. Flood advisory for Sebastian and Crawford County. And it looks like until 11 a.m. And that's for the potential for some localized flooding. So looks like it's less organized. Wind reports are less strong. Upcoming statements will reduce the wind back to 60. That was a little bit ago. And it looks like this is continuing to do a downtrend. So thank you for tuning in this morning. Just kind of a quick recap for those just now tuning in. I'm weather forecaster Joshua Weisel, and we are watching storms moving into the River Valley. Sorry that this is not the most interesting live stream, but I'm also happy that this is not the most interesting live stream. We've had a lot of activity the last couple of weeks here, and I'm so glad that this is 60-mile-per-hour winds and not anything worse, at least for the time being. We're watching these storms. We'll let you know if anything changes with these, but right now it looks like 60-mile-per-hour winds are going to be the primary concern with this as it continues to be on a downward trend, at least based off of reports. Now we're going to check back in with our Mercy Fort Smith camera. And we're going to be watching this for the next little bit. Notice that flag to the right. It's not whipping up here. It's not kicking up any sort of activity so far. So it looks like that may not be reaching there just yet. While there's kind of a lull in the activity, I know we have some damaging winds moving in, but you know, we've got this activity moving in. I know there's probably going to be a lot of questions about this. Just to do kind of a quick recap, 60-mile-per-hour winds are the only concern with this for the time being. I think there are some strong winds up to 60 miles an hour into Fort Smith right now. We'll zoom in on some of those areas. Arkoma, Fort Smith, Wrighttown, Bar Lane, some of those areas may experience 50 to 60-mile-per-hour winds here momentarily. That is the only issue that we've got going on right now. We've got this hail. Even though it's a little bit brighter, that is just for penny size. Now, something we may need to watch further to the south and west of this that may clip portions of LaFleur, I don't actually know at this point. Depends on the track. Would be this one that's coming up near McAllister. That looks like some large hail. But right now, not a whole lot going on. It's just this one severe thunderstorm warning. It is a base level severe thunderstorm warning, meaning that we're just meeting the criteria. And thankfully, this is starting to weaken pretty dramatically. And I hope that that continues to be the case. Now, for everyone around the region, I know, it's Memorial Day weekend. There's a lot of travel plans and stuff like that. Just real quick, I want to bring this graphic in here real quick. So if you have any sort of plans to travel, there are probably going to be some delays at some airports here just because we've got all this rainfall. We've got this wind potential here. I'm actually not sure if there's any delays at XNA, but let's go ahead and take a look at this travel forecast for today, just real quick. So if you're headed out for, travel for Memorial Day weekend, this is what we've got for the next 24 hours or so. So this is today, right around this time. You can see showers and thunderstorms are a concern here for portions of the southern central plains. And then we've got this activity still kicking in around noon near the Denver travel hub, OKC, portions of Florida. And then as we head into the evening hours, if you got any sort of travel plans, still seeing some rain and thunderstorms across generally our neck of the woods all the way through Memphis into tomorrow morning. So if you got any sort of travel plans, that is a quick look at the travel map there. And it looks like a pretty active weekend, not only for us, but also a large portion of the southern plains here. Let's go back to radar. and we're watching this one carefully. Again, I know this may not be the most interesting severe weather live stream, but that is our goal, is to have these streams where, they're not that interesting. The less interesting, actually, the better. We don't want these to be, too interesting, because then that means that we've got damaging severe weather in our area. And, fortunately, this is a base level severe thunderstorm warning. So we got some higher wind potential here still. I think it's still around 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick little break here real quick to kind of reset some things. And I'm going to leave this up. I'm going to leave my mic off until I come back. But if anything changes, we'll let you know. Not going anywhere. Just want to kind of relieve any fears going on. We do have some winds in the river valley, so I know it's loud. I know it's scary. 60 mile per hour winds are the main concern with this. And we're not going anywhere. I'm just going to take a quick break real quick and then come back here in just a minute. But just to let you know, stay away from westerly windows. That's the best thing that you can do. And we're going to continue to keep an eye on this activity. I'll leave the radar up here, and we'll be back here in just a moment. All right, I am back, y'all, and thank you for bearing with me this morning. Kind of just looking over a couple things, and we are back with you live. If you're just now tuning in with us, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 8:30 this morning. Mostly includes portions of the River Valley, cities like Van Buren, Fort Smith, Alma, and Greenwood. So looking to see what we've got going on behind the scenes here. I am checking some radar sources here and looking to see kind of what's going on. I do think that there are still some pockets of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds still. Eastern portion of the line looks to be below severe limits. And that's some good news there. They're planning to not go ahead and extend that warning. So perfect to just kind of, take a break and kind of look over some things there. Doesn't really look like it is severe at the moment in time based off of what the Weather Service is saying. Still keeping an eye on it, though. We'll let you know the very latest. We're here all day, every day. We're going to make sure that you have the very latest information and that you are not caught off guard by these storms when we can deliver that information. So, again, it looks like this storm is currently below severe limits. Looks like some of the reports near Fort Smith were around 24 miles an hour. Fortunately, it looks like we are not in the worst portion of it any longer. I do think there are some strong pockets where it's going to be a strong storm near Alma. As you can see, just a little bit heavier reflectivity, but also a lot more lightning with that. But right now, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about, which is some good news. As I've been mentioning all morning, it's a little bit boring, I'm sure, for viewers when we don't have a whole lot to talk about. But, from our standpoint, we're glad that we don't have a whole lot to talk about. We're glad that we're not dealing with more intense winds, all that kind of stuff. It's just, one of those days where we have this risk. We're going to let you know the very latest, but right now, the only thing that we're going to be watching eventually is a couple of storms once this warning eventually drops. It looks like we're going to continue to watch for maybe some that may clip portions of Lafleur County. It's a little bit hard to tell at this point in time. But right now, still severe thunderstorm warning continues until 8:30. This is another 15 minutes or so. And this continues for portions of Sebastian, Crawford, and Franklin County, and portions of Lafleur and Sequoia, but really the worst of it is pretty much out of Sequoia at this point in time. Let's take a look at that hail real quick, and still not very big. So we're going to keep with this until this warning decides to drop off. Hopefully that continues to be the case. Really not seeing any sort of impressive reports with this, which is some good news that we've got going on there. Looks like, the winds are also not as significant either. Now we are in an area known as the cone of silence. That's that little donut hole that you see there with the radar site where it looks a little bit funky. That is because, there's a little bit of a ring where the radar can't determine things clear enough once you're a couple miles close to where the beam starts at. And that's when it starts to kind of go up with height. And then there's a little bitty ring there that it's not very clear data. In fact, there's no data at all for about I think it's about a mile radius around the radar itself. So that's a look at what we've got going on there. The winds, though, notice not seeing those bright pockets, which is some very, very good news. Unfortunately for our neighbors further to the west, that is not the case. And we'll be watching these as they make their way closer to Lafleur County. But just looking to see, it looks like further to the west, there's a little bit more in terms of that hail. And there's that update that they were talking about, looking at kind of behind the scenes here. Nope, let's go to hail. Yeah, and that is actually a pretty considerable hailstorm there. Probably about $half sized. Yep, we're a little bit larger. So outside of our coverage area, that's where that activity is. But eventually, that would make its way and may even clip a small portion of Lafleur County. But right now, the activity in the main portions of our coverage area, or a little bit more populated areas of the coverage area, are of course this that we've got here. In portions of the River Valley. So letting our friends and neighbors know in the River Valley, you got a storm. It looks like it's not as bad. It's starting to weaken, which is some good news. Hopefully we can just get this to kind of fizzle off and die out. Again, this is besides the winds, the lightning across the area. It is a little bit of a problem. It's going to put some hiccups in the morning plans. It's also putting some hiccups if you are, one of those people who are trying to sleep in the morning, and you're like, oh, this thunderstorm, it sounds relatively peaceful, and then you'll get that one loud pop of lightning that just scares the daylights out of you. And then you get out of bed and you're like, okay, I don't think I want to sleep after that. This is that kind of lightning where it's loud, it's obnoxious, and it continues off and on. So we've got the lightning in place. It's going to create some hiccups with any sort of outdoor plans, but also it's not that peaceful thunder that you can necessarily just sleep to, unfortunately. And it looks like that typically is the case. Over the last couple years I've lived here, I've noticed that we don't typically get the more peaceful thunder off in the distance. You'll get a couple of those nice rumbles. It's a soothing kind of thunderstorm to go to sleep to, and then you'll get the one loud one that comes out of nowhere, and it sounds like an explosion. So just keep that in mind. If you're trying to sleep in, probably not the best day. So we're going to continue to watch this one for portions of Lafleur County. No warning for Lafleur County yet. But it looks like this one that's moving into areas just to the west of Lafleur County, and then maybe into Lafleur County itself here momentarily, or within the next half hour or so. This one has had a history of some large hail, golf ball size, even a little bit larger, and as well as very heavy rainfall, and maybe even some rotation with it. So it has had a history of producing damage in terms of hail. So this is a very, very active portion of these storms. These are going to continue to weaken, I hope. So we're gonna watch that. And just as I say that, it looks like that hail core actually increased. We're back up to golf ball now. So this may end up being a pretty considerable storm that we need to be monitoring here closely. So we're going to be watching that. Let's go ahead and take that off. And this is near McAllister, Oklahoma. And it looks like new flash flood warning out there. Just a lot of flash flood warnings going on here. It does not surprise me with how active and how much rainfall we have. So the warning itself is going to end in about 9 minutes. We're watching. And good news there for that one in Sequoia County. Looks like I haven't really paid attention to that just because it's outside of our area, but it looks like they're saying some of the rotation areas that were noticed were just some bad radar data. So hopefully that continues to be the case. But right now, let's go back to Crawford and Sebastian County. Again, we've got this severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 8:30 this morning. We've got probably just a little bit to go, and it looks like they said they're not going to be extending those warnings eastward, at least with the last update that we saw. So with that being said, 60-mile-per-hour winds are still possible. Let's zoom out and show you what we've got going on here. Of course, we have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. Watching this activity that we've got going on this morning right now, this will be the bulk activity for what we're going to be talking about for this watch. After that, we have a flash flood watch for the potential for heavy rainfall, even some localized flooding. We've already seen a lot of flash flood warnings further to the north and to the west so far. So this is going to continue to be an issue for the next several days. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean, even southwest Missouri, take a look at all these flash flood warnings just from this big complex of rain that we've got going on. So, just one of those things that you need to be mindful, especially, areas in the River Valley. We know if you've grown up in the River Valley, if you've lived there for a couple years, if you're just familiar with it in general, typically, even if you get a light amount of rain in some areas around Fort Smith, people from there know exactly where I'm talking about. Some of those areas can easily become flooded pretty quickly. When we have, just a little bit of rainfall and it does that. That's one thing. But once we start getting into heavier and heavier rain totals, that can lead to a little bit greater of a flooding potential. So we're watching this activity. Heavy rainfall, lots of lightning, gusty winds, and it looks like getting close to that 5-minute mark before that warning may start to go away. So we're going to continue to watch this. And also, just a quick heads up for our viewers on YouTube. We can't see your comments, but eventually when this live stream ends, whenever we don't have a warning here, we'll take another break. But when the warning ends, if there's any sort of warnings, and this is for all the live streams here, just so you're aware, we are going to be watching it behind the scenes. When the warning ends, we'll go ahead and take a break. But if any warnings are issued, we will come back to, live streaming coverage just to give you kind of an update of what we're expecting. When we're not live, I just want to direct your attention to our YouTube. We have this stream going on right now. We have another stream that we've worked really hard on and is up and running right now with a loop of our cameras, radar, and some other information that we've got too. So local forecast loop for the morning to get your day started. We've got a live look outside. We've got live radar. It's a really cool little live stream that we've got going on there with kind of all of our graphics, and it'll show you kind of more information on that. So it'll have some of our forecast graphics. It'll have the radar. It'll have the cameras. So be sure to check that out when this is over. You can check that out on our YouTube. So be sure to click on that whenever this stream is done. In the meantime, keep it here with us. We're watching this for the next little bit. Let's go ahead and check those winds. And let's see. And excuse me if I'm kind of scatterbrained. Been here since about 1:30. So let's see here. Yeah. Notice we're not looking at those, brighter blues or brighter reds. There are a couple little brighter areas near Mansfield, but considering that is not necessarily severe limits. Looks like no update from the Weather Service, and we got about 3 minutes before this starts to wind down. And there's some thunder. Let me get that little menu off the screen. Unfortunately, this has not been a very eventful live stream. So I'm kind of glad that this hasn't been, much worse. Even look at that loop. This complex of storms is not as significant as it was earlier. You can see just a dramatic weakening trend as it's almost falling apart. So that's some good news there. Continuing to watch this, and it looks like we have been allowed to expire the severe thunderstorm warning. That includes Sequoia, LaFleur, Franklin, and Crawford and Sebastian counties. So this warning has been allowed to expire. That's some good news. You can see that just dramatic weakening as it continues to move off to the south and east. Now we are hopeful that that will be the same case with this one. Even look at that one is still weakening. So hopefully that continues to be the trend with that. No warning here for LaFleur County at this point. If anything changes, of course, we will be right back with you here to let you know the very latest. But right now, no warnings really issued for our area. This little warning box here is going to be allowed to drop off the map. Seeing what looks like they went ahead and canceled Adair Washington and Benton counties from the watch. Let's go ahead and take a look at that here. I'm not sure if that loaded in yet or not. Okay, cool. So the severe thunderstorm watch is canceled for all of northwest Arkansas. And they're trimming it down as these storms move through. And so the only counties that are included are LaFleur, Sequoia, Crawford, and Sebastian. Those are the only counties that are included with this watch as of now. And it looks like and I just noticed you can hear the rainfall in the background too. And Weather Service is saying for that one that's moving into LaFleur County that one's moving into an environment that is less favorable. So they're expecting that to continue to be on a downward trend. Now, if I'm in western LaFleur County, I would still be mindful of the potential here as this storm starts to move into the area here in probably the next half hour or so. But right now, no warnings for LaFleur County. This is the only storm that we've got, at least knocking on our doorstep, that is at least reasonably concerning. But it looks like this one also is starting to weaken there. The hail core is still rather strong, but I am going to mention that it was in the pinks to even reds earlier. We are no longer seeing that, so hopefully that continues to be the case. That's a look at what we've got going on here. I'm going to go ahead and just take a quick little break. Because this one is knocking on our doorstep, I'm going to go ahead and leave this stream up. Not going to go anywhere, but if anything changes, we're going to go back to coverage. So right now, since it is quiet, I don't want to necessarily, go back and forth, starting up multiple streams and kind of confusing the viewers. I'm going to leave this one up and running for the time being. Once storms start to move into LaFleur County, if we get another warning, then we will be back up live. We'll let you know what to expect. Keep it here with 5. We'll let you know any sort of updates here momentarily whenever we get the latest information. All right, and welcome back. And I'm weather forecaster Joshua Weisel. Told you we'd be back here if anything changed, and it looks like it has. New severe thunderstorm warning does include LaFleur County, and we're going to go ahead and just take you to that warning here real quick. It does include a large chunk of LaFleur County. It doesn't quite include Poteau, and this is for the potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds. And okay, that's still outside of the area. 70-mile-per-hour wind, and 1.25-inch hail, which is around half dollar size. The other thing, too, is they included a tornado possible tag, and that's because there has been a little bit of area of rotation. And you can see there's a little bit of those greens mixed with those reds, but right now, nothing screaming immediate tornado potential in at least LaFleur County. Further to the west, there's a couple areas of some rotation we may need to watch, but right now, the further east it goes, the little less, surface instability it has to work with. So we're going to be talking about that and watching that very carefully. So, of course, we're on top of things, doing our due diligence. But I also want to highlight the potential that we have here in terms of hail. And our hail core tracker is showing you that maybe some half-dollar size hail is still possible. Now, I do want to just highlight the storm itself is actually not in LaFleur County yet. It's starting to get there. And let's go ahead and just take a look here at what the speed was on that. And this is moving east at 60 miles an hour. So I want to go ahead and, while we don't have this in the county yet, go ahead and just do a quick little update as to when you can let's see here, 60, yeah, when you can expect this to be moving in here. And I'll just go ahead and do that. Don't really know why that is still kind of activating. So eventually it'll make its way into these areas here in just a little bit. If you hear my phone buzzing, we were still just getting some updates on this. Still keeping the tornado possible tag. It looks like we got another update for the part that's making its way closer to the warning that's making its way into LaFleur County. So that's some locations there. Let's go ahead and remove this. And we'll go back to radar here. And let's go back to regular radar. And we'll kind of show you what we're talking about here in terms of where this activity is located. So if you're new to the area or you're just not familiar where we're talking about and you're from Northwest Arkansas or even the River Valley. So River Valley, Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas, Bentonville, Fayetteville, some of those locations there, just rain and thunderstorms, nothing severe for the time being. The only storm that we have right now is this one in southern LaFleur County, which is our, most southwestern county in our coverage area. This is in effect until 9:30. So we've got another, say about 45 minutes or so with this warning to kind of make its way through. We talked about the surface instability that this has to work with. And the reason this is important is the higher the surface instability, the more likely the chance that this has the potential to become surface-based, meaning that there's enough, lower level instability and ingredients to work with that it could start to rotate. Now, this is in an environment where there is some instability in the moderate levels, but we're not necessarily talking the more extreme instability further to the south. There is some instability kind of in this area where this is going to be moving into, so we're going to be watching that, but right now, no immediate tornado risk with that. I also want to just take a look at the tops of these storms just to see kind of how impressive this has been. And where you're seeing those reds, that's a little bit taller of a thunderstorm here. So the taller the thunderstorm, the more powerful the updrafts, and still supportive for that hail. Also, just a tremendous amount of lightning with that. Let's go ahead and go back to radar, and then let's go ahead and cue the lightning here. And over the last 10 minutes, almost 1,000 strikes. So that is a lot of lightning with this activity. So if you're in this area, it's best to just not be outdoors. Go ahead and stay inside, stay away from westerly windows, just because there is a potential for some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds with this still. I think the wind potential is going to continue to decrease the further east it goes, but for the time being, still some pretty strong winds that we're going to be dealing with here as well. Let's go to our rotation tracker. And still just a couple of very weak locations there. So no immediate tornado potential, but we do have that tag that we'll need to be watching for the potential for maybe a spin up or two possible. This warning is just for LaFleur County. Not a whole lot to talk about, which is some good news there. I think the main story with this one, and it looks like getting a new update. And then it looks like they're just going to add a portion of that storm to a county just outside of our coverage area. If not, maybe that is the Little Rock side or Shreveport. I believe actually that may be Shreveport taking over for that one. Go ahead and check. It looks like they're just adding something to the bottom. Okay, so that is Shreveport's office. They're just going to go ahead and just, do their due diligence and issue a warning downstream for that storm as it's approaching their area. What we've got going on here, again, is this one line or this complex of storms moving into portions of LaFleur County here shortly. Again, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds are going to be the main concern here with this activity. Let's go to the hail core tracker, and that has gone down dramatically. This was earlier when we were watching it making its way closer to our area. Notice we were in the pinks. Right now, this is really not that impressive. We're talking, I'd guess about penny-sized. Yep. So we got about penny-sized hail with this activity, which is some good news there. Velocities look to be still strong, but at least coming down. So hopefully this continues to weaken as it makes its way further and further. Special weather statement. Okay, not for our county, so that's some good news there. But yeah, hopefully as this continues to move off to the south and east, this continues to weaken there. So again, if you're in these areas, just go ahead and stay away from those westerly windows. We've got some strong winds. We've got some small hail with that as well. So we're going to be watching these very carefully. But yeah, in the meantime, just keep an eye on the radar, and we'll be watching these as well over the next little bit. But as I've been mentioning all morning, I'm a little bit relieved that this is a pretty boring stream, just because, not a whole lot to talk about, nothing significant, nothing, widespread or too interesting to kind of talk about. Just a couple of storms, mostly with some hail and some wind. And again, we're keeping a very close eye on this activity. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rotation tracker. And again, as you can see, really nothing to highlight there in terms of rotation, just a couple of weak pockets, but we're not talking any sort of significant rotation or anything like that, which is some good news there. So yes, if you're in central and southern LaFleur County, we have this severe thunderstorm warning, until 9:30. And we'll be watching this behind the scenes. Going to go ahead and take a quick little break here, and we will be right back with more updates here in a minute. All right, and welcome back. Here's a look at what we've got with the radar. We're talking severe thunderstorm warning continuing for LaFleur County, and this is going to be one of those things that we continue to watch for the potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds. This is going to be making its way to portions of the county here. So 70-mile-per-hour winds are possible. The good news I can relay is that they said they're going ahead and they're no longer including that tornado possible tag. And we'll show you what we mean here. It looks like we're getting another update from the Weather Service here with that warning. So look and see what they're putting out there here. And the other thing, too, the winds up to 70, it says here that they are saying that was looking more like it was in spots. And not necessarily a widespread 70-mile-per-hour wind potential there. So let's go ahead and sample a couple of these areas right around 60. So you can see translating to the ground, that may be anywhere between about 50, 60, maybe even up to 65 at times. So not surprised that we're still seeing some gusty winds with that. But the good news is it looks like this is decreasing. The latest update that they just sent out, where you saw that blinking box, let me show you what we're talking about here. On the Tulsa side, they've actually decreased the wind potential, and you can kind of see how that line is not looking nearly as impressive as it was just a little bit ago. Still quite a bit of lightning with it, but right now, the only thing that we have right now is a base severe thunderstorm warning at this point. So, again, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Trying to see if I can get that to go away and just show this one. Guess I got it. Yeah. So right now, just a base severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, not even severe hail. That's penny to nickel size hail that will be possible. So nothing significant, nothing, into the more significant wind range, nothing into the more significant hail range, which is some good news there. Again, we're going to just sample some of these areas and see some of those colors that look a little bit brighter, not really too intense, which is some good news there. Glad to see it. Hopefully, this will just also be allowed to expire here. I think this is in effect until 9:30. So we got another 25 minutes or so with this to be moving in here in the next little bit. So right now, the good news is no areas of concern in terms of 70-plus mile-per-hour winds or anything like that. Not talking those wind speeds, which is good. The other good thing to highlight is there really isn't any sort of areas of rotation with this either. So they went ahead and they dropped the tornado possible tag with this storm. There was a couple areas of bad radar data that made it look like it was rotating. And for those who are curious, the technical term is side lobe contamination. It's a bad radar scan where on the side lobe of the scan, it looks like an area of rotation. This happens more often than you would think, but it's a bad radar reading where it will look like there is rotation that is occurring, but it's not what we call co-located, meaning when you align the reflectivity product, which is what you're seeing here, when you align this, if, for example, we say this area is rotating, it would have to line up with both products. Now, if you're just now tuning in, this area is not rotating, so no worries there. Just explaining some side lobe contamination. You'll get an area that looks like intense rotation developing, but it's just a bad reading where it's experiencing some clutter or some other issues, and then it's a contaminated sweep where it's not aligning. So you may get a signal further out, like, for example, here, but the actual rain itself is back here. So it's just some of the things that we look for in terms of forecasting. So just a quick little tidbit or a little nerd update as to why that rotation was knocked off the board there. Let's see, an unfortunate couple of scans of side lobe contamination, as we call it. But right now, I'm highlighting this area here, not for any sort of rotation or anything, but notice just how different this is from the last little bit. And I want to go ahead and I want to go put this back into motion. And this storm looked intense as it was making its way towards our area. Notice it was just some of those brighter reds, darker purples, starting to get into the purple and light purple colors into pink And then, I mean, just look at it the last couple of scans. That in and of itself is some very good news, that we're no longer seeing some of those intense purples. In fact, barely any red for the northern portion of this for the time being. I think if there was going to be any sort of hail, it would be in this portion here, where you can see some of those purples are kind of aligning with our banner here, indicating maybe some hail development would be occurring. Let's take a look at that hail core. And yeah, you can just see we've got this activity right here, but it's not too impressive. In fact, if I just sample this, I would say quarter. Yep. So quarter-size hail, that is damaging hail, but it is again, the bare minimum threshold that you need in order for a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're not talking golf ball size, which this has had a history of producing. I also want to take a look. This is a cool product. This is our core strength. And just kind of zooming this back, I want to show you the progression of this storm. So this is just showing basically how healthy is the storm, how healthy is that updraft or that core with it. And if I move this forward, notice with time, we were in the strong category and we are no longer there. We are into probably the moderate strength there. I also want to look at the tops of this, see if that has maintained a tall thunderstorm or if it has kind of gone down any amount. And you can see it has been a pretty tall thunderstorm at one point. We're starting to get into those darker purples, but starting to see that decrease just a little bit. No longer as widespread with the reds. So again, we look at all these tools, and there's way more tools than just these that we are looking at here, that we kind of look at behind the scenes to kind of put together the story and see kind of what's happening here. But the general trend looks to be on the downside. So we're no longer looking at, the 70-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball size hail. Okay, so that's back towards Tulsa. So getting another update in there, just making sure it wasn't for anything in our area. Let's go back to the hail now, our hail core tracker. And still looking at some quarter-size hail. So that's some good news that we're not looking at golf ball. This is still some hail that you need to be aware of, but overall, liking the fact that we're not talking about golf ball size hail with this activity, especially because this has had a history of producing some golf ball size hail. Let's go back to, let's see if I can find it. There we go. Take a look at all the storm reports that we've had. And the good news is really not a whole lot in our neck of the woods, which I'm very grateful for. But further to the west, this one storm was producing quite a bit of issues. And some of these, I believe this was a 70-mile-per-hour wind, just about around 66. And 1.8-inch hail, so just around golf ball and a little bit larger, was reported with this storm previously. And fortunately, it doesn't look to be the same case as of now. So we've got this activity. Again, only this is the warned section of what we've got. Further to the south and east, Logan, Scott, Johnson counties, there's a couple of thunderstorms in there that are a little bit louder. Nothing severe, though. That is kind of what's remaining from the activity that went through Fort Smith earlier. No severe weather, just a lot of lightning. It looks like there is a bunch, it looks like there is a flooding concerns back towards Tulsa due to the heavy rain and then prolonged activity. And yeah, this is the only game that we've got in town in terms of severe weather right now. And the good news is I'm noticing that this is starting to decrease across the board, and I'm hoping that that continues to be the case. We've got about 20 minutes or so, or 19 to 20 minutes left with the warning. And we're going to see what the Weather Service has to say here when we get to that point here. Let's go back to the hail tracker. And even that looks to be kind of a little bit decreased from what it was earlier. No longer seeing kind of that bullseye of quarters, very, very small area of penny to quarter-sized hail, and I guarantee you this is probably more flooding updates. Okay, I guarantee you, and then yeah, with that latest scan, it's even further decreased there. I guarantee you, this is probably the handfuls of hail where you're getting just small handfuls of, pea marble or penny nickel-sized hail with a couple quarters mixed in. But right now, it does not look like this is super significant in terms of that hail core either, which is some very good news there. So this is decreasing. And just for those who are tuning in, they've been watching all morning, I am not able to see your comments or your questions on YouTube or Facebook. So I mentioned that earlier. Just want to do a reminder just because you never know. Someone may have just hopped on. They may have a question or anything like that. If you're asking about your area, it's incredibly difficult to kind of say the potential that one town or one neighborhood could have. Today, we do have a pretty equal opportunity for the potential for some severe weather. And while there's kind of a decrease in the activity, just kind of want to walk through some information here real quick. And stand by. Here's a look at what we've got. So we have a weather impact alert today all the way through Monday morning. We've got multiple waves of storms, and that means that there could be anything from just a regular springtime thunderstorm all the way into severe limits. Today, we have this round in the morning, and then we start to see that clear out by this afternoon before another round later tonight into early Sunday. So there's going to be a little bit of a break, but today is not going to overall be, a perfect day for activities. So we've got rounds today, tomorrow, and Monday. And the other thing we're talking about is the flooding potential, because all this heavy rainfall, that's going to lead to some concerns going forward just because we've had a lot of rain the last several weeks. This is going to add to it. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted us today for a 2 out of 5 risk for pretty much all of our county coverage area. But you can see the environment's a little bit worked over further to the north and east, so they've trimmed back that slight risk. Or 2 out of 5, further to the south and west. So some of our northeast counties are clipping about a 1 out of 5 risk there as well. As we head into the futurecast, we've got this rain this morning. It's going to move through. It's going to continue to push out. Maybe a couple of lingering thunderstorms by the early afternoon. But notice there's a little bit of a break. Can't rule out a stray shower or thunderstorm throughout the afternoon. So it's just one of those things where we just, want to make sure that you're aware. Even though there's a break, we can't rule out maybe 1 or 2 little pop-up surprise thunderstorms that you need to be aware of, especially if you're on the lake. Now, later tonight, this is where things start to get a little bit dicey. Another round of strong to severe storms could be possible later tonight. As you can see, any of these more discrete cells capable of that large damaging hail potential, gusty winds, low but not zero tornado risk. This continues into early Sunday morning. So, you saw me on the shows this morning. You're going to see a lot more of me tomorrow, just because we've got more activity that we need to be covering. And then as we head into the the late morning hours, more rain and storms moves through, continuing into the afternoon. Maybe some lingering showers and thunderstorms into the evening. And notice the activity, it just is relentless. It doesn't let up. And then Monday morning for your Memorial Day, just more rain. So we've got all this rain activity, and that's going to lead us to a concern for flash flooding. The risk tomorrow, 2 out of 5 for all of our counties here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Equal opportunity, hail, damaging winds, low but not zero tornado risk as well we need to be mindful of. The hazards are going to be flooding is going to be the main concern. That's because we've got several days of more rainfall. We're talking today, we've got the additional rounds coming up later tonight. We've got Sunday, we've got Monday. So we've got a couple days to go with more rainfall on the way. Hail, damaging winds will also be a concern. And then, of course, there's that low but not zero tornado risk we need to be mindful of. The one thing that I mentioned in the show this morning was if you have plans to be on the lake, you're going to probably want to reconsider for 2 reasons. A, we can't rule out a stray thunderstorm. There is going to be a little bit of a break. But B, if you're one of those people who absolutely loves sunshine, the nice warm water, and being out on the lake and going for a swim, this is not going to be the greatest day. Once this clears out, we're going to have some clouds. But look at the temperatures that we're forecasting for this afternoon. Right around the lower to mid 70s. and then right around the lower 80s for the River Valley. So it's going to feel a little bit better in the River Valley. But the problem is, once we have all this rain, we have the cloud coverage, and we have these mild temperatures. If you jump into the water, it's not going to feel that great. It's going to actually feel pretty chilly. So we've got this that we're talking about. And so just generally, it's okay to be on the water as long as you're mindful of the radar and the activity. But I just kind of want to stress, we've got the temperatures today. We've got all this rainfall. Probably not the best day to be out on the lake. So, do what you will. But those temperatures, it's not going to feel that great in the water. Once we add the water, it's going to be a lot chillier, especially at pools and some area lakes. So that's a look at what we've got there. Futurecast rainfall. This is the biggest concern that we have the next several days. This is the thing that we've been talking about. This is why flash flooding is at the high level that it is. And this is for the potential for up to 7 inches of rainfall. And, we don't take that lightly because we've got all sorts of damp areas still from rain that we've gotten over the last several weeks. So with all this rainfall, this is going to lead to some issues. And this is the areas that we're talking about here. And I want to just stress too, when you see these outlooks, don't take these lines for, 100% positive. This is where that amount's going to be. This is just a general forecast estimation of where we could see rain over the next several days, and the totals that line up. It's not a guarantee that this circle here is going to have this much, not here, and all that. This is just a forecast. So, portions of northwest Arkansas, some of us could see maybe 4 to 7, maybe 7, a little bit more inches of rainfall over the next couple of days. So we got a lot of rainfall that we're talking about here. And then, of course, the other impact we've been talking about, allergens are also going to be an issue. So between that, allergens aren't going away, at least for the time being. Hopefully this rain starts to clear out some of those allergens, but this is what we're going to be talking about. I want to go ahead and highlight this real quick just because, we've got people out and about, we've got people traveling, and while there's a little bit of a lull in the severe activity, we're not forgetting about that storm that's moving into LaFleur County. If we're not talking about you right now, it's because things are starting to wind down a little bit. We'll go back to it here in just a second, so just bear with me for a minute. But for those who are wondering about travel plans, here's a look at what we've got. Once we get to this afternoon, rain is going to be a problem for the travel hubs through Arkansas, Memphis, North Mississippi, all the way into the Central Plains, into portions of Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska. This continues into tonight. We've got a little bit more activity still lingering across the area, even for portions of the Northeast, as you can see over, my left shoulder there, a couple areas of rain, even some fog. And then this continues into tonight, still some issues in the Southern Plains, an area that we refer to as Dixie Alley. That's just kind of this southeastern portion of the country, the Tennessee River Valley, and, the southeastern states here. So got some rain here if you're traveling here. If you're driving by car, just make sure you have ways to, check the radar from time to time, have ways to receive alerts. The severe weather risk is not, widespread into these areas. But, if you encounter any sort of flooding, just make sure that you have ways to receive those alerts. If you're in portions of Arkansas, portions of Missouri, Kansas, stuff like that. So this is where we've got this activity continuing into tomorrow morning. If you're planning to travel out, especially out of XNA, some areas of some rain will still be around, even some thunderstorms. So keep in mind tomorrow morning, not guaranteed that we see delays, but if you're trying to fly out of XNA tomorrow morning, we've got more storms on the way. There could be some delays. So just keep that in mind and, consider that tomorrow. Still get to the airport on time, but there could be some delays you may want to be aware of. So here's a look at that extended 7-day planner here real quick. And the weather impact alert goes all the way into your Memorial Day here. And I just want to kind of stress, severe weather the next couple of days, it's going to be hit or miss. It's a guarantee that all of us see rain at this point. So be prepared that we're going to see some rain. But the severe weather potential, not everyone in this area is going to see severe weather. Not every single county, town, neighborhood is going to see severe weather. There's just a risk that we want you to be aware of because it's Memorial Day weekend. There's plans. There's people, school's finally let out. People are getting their summer plans kicked off. They're, enjoying the weekend with friends and family. They're not tuned into the forecast. We just want to make sure that you're aware there is the potential for severe weather. It continues into early Monday, not only for severe weather, but for the potential for flooding. And we just want to make sure that you're not caught off guard by the activity. That's Northwest Arkansas. Let's show you the River Valley. Same thing. It's one of those things that we just want to make sure that you're tuned into the forecast. I also know, this is a pretty stressful time as well, because we had storms last year on Memorial Day weekend, and there's a lot of fear that comes with that, just because people who experience those storms. We just want to let you know this is not one of those storm risks that you need to be scared of. We're going to be here for you. We're going to be riding it out with you, and we are going to be watching these forecasts. But this is not one of those significant, widespread, severe weather events over the next several days. It's just a general risk that we have for the next couple of days, because maybe one or two of these storms produces some hail, some winds. There is a very low but not zero tornado risk as well. But I just kind of want to reduce some fears, just because I know I've received some messages and stuff about the anxiety going into this weekend with the potential for storms. We're going to be here with you. We're going to let you know what to expect. We're watching these around the clock. But right now, it looks like there is going to be a low chance the next several days, at least through portions of Monday, for maybe a couple strong to severe storms. But we're not talking widespread, significant. Maybe a couple of storms that are capable, like we saw this morning, with hail, damaging winds, and a low but not zero tornado risk. But just kind of want to reduce some of those fears. As long as you're tuned into the forecast, as long as you have ways to check the radar, and if you're doing any sort of plans out there and you have ways to receive lightning alerts, warnings, stuff like that, you're going to be completely fine. It's better to be over-prepared with ways to receive those alerts, and then there's no warning issue for your area than being caught off guard by a storm if you're outdoors. So just want to make sure that you are aware if you have any sort of plans, just so you're not caught off guard. So that's a look at what we've got there. Hopefully we can help reduce any sort of anxiety as well with the severe weather potential, because of course we're watching this around the clock. We will let you know what to expect and the very latest information. That is why we are here. And let's go back to that warning just to kind of show you what we're talking about here, with about 5 minutes left in the warning for Little Fork County. And for those wondering, the warning does not include Northwest Arkansas. It does not include the River Valley necessarily. It does include one of our River Valley counties, and that is LaFleur County. I also want to highlight, too, further to the west, notice near Tulsa, we have this new activity, and this is what we call training thunderstorms. They're continuing these flash flood warnings for Tulsa. And the reason we call these training storms is because think of a train on the track. It just continues and it continues, especially if you're stopped at an intersection with a train crossing, and it just feels like it goes on forever and ever if you're trying to get somewhere. This is the same thing. We have these storms that move through here, but notice just this solid line of what looks like, and I'm sure for that area feels like never-ending rain. It continues. So we've got rain moving over the same area over and over again, training thunderstorms, and that's going to lead to the potential for more rain, more flooding. Unfortunately for Tulsa, that will continue. No flash flood warnings for our area, but I'm sure give it, another couple of hours, more rain activity over the next couple of days, we may start to see that criteria met in some spots. So again, this activity is starting to push into the area as well. So we are not fully done with the rain so far this morning. Just a big mess of rain and storms across the area. Portions of Logan County, some heavier activity, some thunderstorms, nothing severe for the time being. This is the only show in town that we've got, and that's in LaFleur County. So we're watching this very carefully. And let's see here. And the good news is if it continues to move to the south and east, I do think if another warning were to be issued, it would probably clip Scott County, but it would not be a large chunk. Weather Service still keeping that base severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and 1-inch hail. This hail is not that impressive, which I am very thankful for, that we're not talking golf ball size hail or anything like that. Still just right around penny sized based off of radar in the palette that we've got there. And then let's go ahead and sample just some of these winds here too. I think Okay, that didn't work. What about this? Right around 44. So I think that these winds are still probably translating to about 60 miles an hour, maybe 50, 60 miles an hour. But I don't think that we're talking necessarily the 70 mile per hour wind potential there. Let's see what that new warning was. And I guess they're preparing to trim that, or at least that would be my guess, because we have a very, very small severe thunderstorm warning that was just introduced for this portion. But disregard this box. That's for the Shreveport side. For whatever reason, it's just not wanting to pick this up. But this little bitty warning that we have here in southern Leflore County, I'll go ahead and get that off. This little one that we've got here, that is for the potential for 60 mile per hour winds and at least 7/10 of an inch sized hail. So we're not talking, quarter size or anything like that at this point. Weather Service has seen what we've been saying, that this is not a large hail producer, at least anymore. So that's some good news that we've got going on there. This is where things start to get a little bit tricky in terms of the warnings. So Tulsa covers all the way down to Leflore County here. South of there, this is going to be Shreveport. Now, as we start to make our way to the east, these counties here, Scott County to the east and to the northeast, this is Little Rock. So if you're kind of wondering, why didn't the warning extend further to the east into portions of Scott County? Why is it just this weird little box? Well, we're kind of at the three lines where three different offices meet. So they're going to start stacking warnings into their version of the area that they cover, and they're going to look a little bit weird here, where we're going to have a couple boxes here and there, and they don't look like they add up. That's just because we've got a couple different offices in this area that they're going to start kind of tacking on their own warnings, and they're going to be a little bit different, depending on what they're thinking for their area. So again, 60 mile per hour winds, really nothing significant or overall impressive. And this, let's see what they said for this, till 10:30. So about an hour from now. So we've got that, and just watching this. This is the only show in town that we've got in terms of activity. So fortunately, we're not talking any sort of additional warnings that are in that 70 mile per hour range, hail potential, all of that. This is very sub-severe hail and about 60 mile per hour winds. I'm going to go back to our more high resolution data here behind the scenes and just kind of look over a couple things just to make sure we're doing our due diligence. Looks like that one needs to be rebooted, so we will just go back to the other one. Looks like there is more flood advisories. This one is for Delaware County, and the Weather Service is saying that Flint Creek is where there may be some flooding. So we'll continue to watch that. But flooding, I think, is going to continue to be the main concern, just because we've already had a lot of these flash flood warnings. And let's zoom out here real quick. And, with this many flood warnings so far this morning, and this is just the first day that we're going to be dealing with this rain potential. So just something that we'll need to be watching over the next several days, that rain is going to be a pretty main concern with this activity. So we've got this going on, and we've been on for a while. We've been tracking these storms. It looks like the worst of this is probably not going to end up in Scott County with the latest update that we got from the Weather Service there. And still some thunder in northwest Arkansas, as you can hear, training thunderstorms further to the north and west. I'll be watching this activity, but overall, nothing too impressive, nothing significant. Just a a base level severe thunderstorm warning. Just show you some county or some cities, excuse me, that are included here. And it looks like Big Cedar, Octavia, Lenox, Ludlow, and Page. These are the areas that are going to be probably experiencing some of those 60-mile-per-hour winds here. But right now, it doesn't look like there's any sort of significant hail. Probably about pea to penny size still, or pea to dime size. And let's go ahead and take a look at that rotation tracker here too. Just a couple pockets. I think that may be some bad radar data. I'm looking at that. But that reminds me to check the wind speeds, and still around 47 miles an hour. Keep in mind, we are looking a little bit higher up. So I think 45 to about 55, maybe 60 mile per hour winds are still possible with this activity. So we are going to continue to watch storms here locally across the area because this is going to start to wind down here in just a little bit. We're going to stay on for just a little bit longer, and then going to take a break here. So watching these storms, again, it's loud. It's loud across a large portion of the area. Heavy rain, heavy thunderstorms moving through. We got lots of lightning. Some of these are producing some gusty winds of 30 to 40. And the only severe storm that we have in town is southern LaFleur County. So we've got this activity going on here. Nothing too significant. I'm going to go ahead and take another break and just mute myself here. And if anything changes, we are going to go and come back here into coverage. But just going to work on a couple things behind the scenes here. And if anything changes, of course, we will be right back. All right, and we are back here, and it looks like the latest update shows that the Weather Service says that they are going to let the remainder of the watch expire at 10 o'clock for the severe thunderstorm watch. And if you saw me moving the radar around, watching southern Lafleur County, where we have this one storm moving into portions of that area, but I do want to just kind of pass along. It's looking incredibly less impressive than it was earlier. No longer seeing those pockets of what looked like more intense winds. In fact, it doesn't even look like there is a hail core, at least in Lafleur County. It looks like that has shifted to south of the county. And if we go back in time, I'll take this little box off here real quick. We go back in time, you can just see over the last little bit, the storm itself does not look that impressive. It looks like a tremendous weakening cycle tremendous weakening phase has kind of hit this storm. And it looks like this one is not doing as well as it was earlier. Lots of flash flooding occurring to the north and west of this activity. So we're getting started with the flooding potential. Severe weather with this activity will start to wind down here in just a little bit. Again, we have that round coming up later this evening that we'll be watching. But, right now, it doesn't look like this one is as impressive. So, not a whole lot of hail in this area. We're watching the winds and stuff. We'll let you know if anything changes. But if let's do this. So still some gusty winds. I think that we're still probably between about 35 to 55 miles an hour. Maybe some gusts up to 60, but I'm really not seeing those widespread areas of 60 anymore, which is some good news there. Hopefully that continues to be the case, just because, it's a bare minimum severe thunderstorm warning with the hazards that we've got here, but even those can create some issues, and we don't want to see those issues, across the area impacting people's day. So hopefully this will continue to weaken. We'll zoom in and get some of those locations here that are in the path. Lenox, Big Cedar, Page. Let's see here. Octavia. I think the worst is probably past Ludlow at this point. But Big Cedar, Octavia, some of these areas, winds are on the way, if not already there. So we're going to see maybe just a little bit longer activity with some gusty winds. But I do think that this one's starting to approach at least nearing below severe limits at this point. And the good news is, like I said, Weather Service is saying they're going to just let the remainder of the watch expire once we get to about 10 o'clock this morning. So next 20 or 19 minutes or so. Excuse me. So we've got this, and just a quick overview. Looks like the Weather Service is continuing the warning, but they are trimming it down. So it's just including the one heaviest portion there. So let's do a quick overview here real quick. Of course, we got a severe thunderstorm warning in southern Lafleur County. At this point, it is the far southern portion of the county itself. Training thunderstorms over Tulsa, continuing into portions of Sequoia and Adair County. That's going to lead to a localized flooding potential, just because that looks to be almost nonstop. We've got all sorts of rain in northwest Arkansas continuing, and be mindful of the lightning potential if you are outdoors. Localized flooding is going to be the main concern throughout the next several days. Of course, can't rule out a couple of these producing some wind, some hail, little but not zero tornado risk. But right now, it looks like widespread. The rain is going to be the main concern with that flooding potential. As you can see, we've got all sorts of flash flood warnings surrounding us. That's those little marine boxes you see here. Southwest Missouri, just a lot of flash flood warnings in effect. East of us, west of us, give it just a couple of days, a couple more rounds of this. I think we'll probably be nearing the threshold for maybe a flash flood warning or two in spots, just because we're going to get a lot more rain over the next couple of days. This is just one of those things that we just need to be mindful of. So this one's going to not make its way into Scott County, which is some good news there. Again, I think the worst of the storm has actually passed into southern areas south of Lafleur County. We'll take a look at the radar. And let's see here. No longer seeing those areas of 50s as well. So the good news is it looks like this is starting to kind of wrap up. We're going to go ahead and wrap this stream up as well. The severe thunderstorm watch that was in effect is, what is it? Oh, sorry, I thought it sounded like someone was talking to me. It looks like.
No, you're fine. I was just saying they're 1,300 with that power in LaFleur County.
Okay, thank you for that update. 1,300 in Lafleur County without power. So we've got that. Looking to see, it looks like we may have gotten an extension of, or at least a new severe thunderstorm watch. I'm going to see when they added that. And it includes Logan and Scott County. So that was just a little bit ago. Logan and Scott County now included, and that is in effect until 3 p.m. So Logan and Scott County's new severe thunderstorm watch, and that's in effect until 3 o'clock this afternoon. So, and it does not include any other counties. The counties further to the west and in the River Valley, Crawford and Sebastian County, those are going to be allowed to expire here in about 15 minutes. So we've got that. So new severe thunderstorm watch, and let's see. There we go. Got that off there. This is the new severe thunderstorm watch that we're talking about, Logan and Scott counties here. And then the one that's going to be allowed to expire is this one here in Sebastian, Crawford, Adair, and Lafleur County. So this area is going to be allowed to expire here shortly. This area, however, is not going to end until 3 o'clock. And it looks like maybe we also saw the flash flood watch extended further to, or expanded to the south. Let me look up our flood alerts there just to see if that is the case. Okay, that may not have changed. Still, this is going to be through Monday, the flash flooding potential. While we're on it, I wish I could show you kind of on here, but not able to with our system. I'm going to look up let's see here. Let's go and see what kind of power outages we have. And looks like Sequoia County has about 343 without power, 1,493, or 1,439, excuse me, in Lafleur County. Let's go ahead and check the Arkansas side of things, kind of make sure there's no lightning that created any sort of outages or anything like that. We've got 8 outages in Washington County, 134 in Crawford, and about 7 out in Sebastian County. Really no outages out. Shout out to the one building without power in Franklin County. Hopefully that gets fixed. We've got 1 outage in Logan County as well. So we got a couple counties with some outages, some single outages there. That's unfortunate. Hopefully you get your power back up and running here pretty soon. Let's check this out again too. And again, I think the worst of it, and just real quick, the radar is not, there we go. Wasn't fully loaded in the scan there, so it looked a little bit weird, but here's a look at that hail core tracker here real quick, and the worst of it still looks to be south of Lafleur County. Let's check those winds, just do our due diligence here, and we're going to continue to watch this. Let's go ahead, and looks like they canceled it. So right as I was going to do that, that is some good news there, because now we don't have to deal with that here in our area. We could kind of just, let viewers in this area begin to relax a little bit. Now, there's still going to be some gusty winds. There's going to be some lightning still with this activity. So just be mindful of that. But it looks like the Weather Service went ahead and canceled this activity, or this warning. No warnings in our area right now, no severe weather. And, just want to do a quick overview here real quick. And just letting you know, we've got the potential for storms today. We've got the ones this morning. We've got the flash flood watch. That's until Monday, and then we have the severe thunderstorm watch for portions of Logan and Scott counties. That's these two counties here until 3 o'clock. So, just to relieve any sort of anxiety, I know it's Memorial Day weekend, and some people are a little bit worried just because. We had some nasty storms last year, and, it's just a fear because it's that time of the year again. Just to relieve that fear, we do have a lower end risk for the next couple of days. We'll let you know if there's any sort of updates that you need to know. We're here watching these around the clock, but we want to let you know the risks today are going to be, or at least the main risk the next couple of days is going to be the potential for flash flooding, damaging winds, maybe some damaging hail as well. Low but not zero tornado risk, but the overall risk that we're going to be concerned with is, of course, the flash flooding, wind, and hail. So we're going to watch for all of them. But the thing is, the severe risk the next couple of days, it's going to be hit or miss. Notice, we just had this one storm in LaFleur County, but northwest Arkansas, we didn't really see anything severe this morning. It's going to be one of those risks where, as I refer to it all the time, hit or miss. Some of us see strong, severe storms. Some of us don't. It's going to be one of those things that it's not a guarantee that your area sees severe storms, but it's just something to be mindful of. We've got a lot of activities here in town this weekend. We got people traveling. It's just one of those things. You got a lot on your mind, and the last thing on a lot of people's minds is the potential for storms. They may think, oh, it looks like rain, and they won't, really check on it. We want to make sure before you hit the lake, before you head out to travel, before you head out to the park, that you're not caught off guard by any sort of storms, because, it's not going to be really fun if you're caught off guard, you're on the boat, you're, at the park, you're out for a jog, and then we got a huge downpour that occurs over you, maybe even some wind and hail, So it's not a guarantee. It's just a risk that we want to bring awareness to the next couple of days. It's not something to be, overall scared about. It's just something to be aware of, because we got the next couple of days. We've got a lot of outdoor plans. We got events. We've got get-togethers, all sorts of stuff like that. We just don't want you to be caught off guard by storms. So that's why we're here. We're watching these around the clock. If anything changes, we're going to let you know. And I highly recommend, if you're watching us on YouTube and you're watching us on Facebook and you're kind of wondering, where is this? You just stumbled across severe weather coverage. Well, we are KFSM 5 News. We are in northwest Arkansas. We cover Fayetteville, Fort Smith area. That's in the northwest portion of the state of Arkansas. So if you're kind of curious where this is, there's that. If you got friends and family here, if you're living here and you didn't know about our app and stuff like that, download our app today. That is the best advice I can give you, just because if we see anything like that, we'll push out an alert. We'll let you know the latest update. We've got articles talking about the risks that we update throughout the day. We also, in the event of severe weather, have these 5+ streaming, where we do it on Facebook, we do it on YouTube, we do it on our streaming platform 5+. So, if we go live, you'll get a push notification letting you know, hey, we're live, we're tracking storms, this is what you need to be aware of. So that's just a quick little area of housekeeping just to let you know, hey, if you're new to us and you don't have our app, download our app. It is free. It's on the Apple App Store. It's on the Google Play Store. So, the good thing is, if you're out in the boat, if you're out in town or you're traveling, you can watch our coverage right from your phone. You don't need to watch us on necessarily a TV. We do have those options as well. So just download the app and we'll let you know the very latest. Now that things are calmed down, now that things are starting to wrap up, we're no longer dealing with those warnings. We're going to go ahead and end this stream. So I just want to, prepare you for that. But I do want to bring your attention over on our YouTube account. Go subscribe there. Of course, 5+ is our main streaming platform, but we do have a little loop up throughout the day and throughout the weekend where we've got the latest forecast updates. We've got live radar. We've got live cameras. So you can watch along with us throughout the day. It's a little bit more in depth of a loop throughout the day. You know, when we can't go on live, or there's really nothing that we can cover in terms of severe weather. You can kind of see the cameras and the forecast throughout the day. Anything we update will be there, our website, our app. So check out all those things if you're new to us. So thank you for tuning in. I'm weather forecaster Joshua Weisel, and hopefully you have a fantastic day.